Hey, this is Jonathan Brown, Community Manager Zarm for World of Warcraft, and you're listening to Epic Podcast.
This is the beginning and the end.
You're listening to the Epic Podcast Show with your hosts, Lignar, Ralmardian,
He told me to tie her up and do whatever I wanted to her. So I took a stereo.
and Medicakes.
Do you think the expansion will make me fat?
Enough of this palaver. Let's get the show on the road.
And I told him, no, you can't do that. My father's in the next room. I mean, hi, guys. Sorry, we're live. Welcome to Epic Podcast. My name's Katie. And this is a podcast for the WoW community, which is you, lovely swans out there. And, of course, my Swanee co-host, Lignar and Medicakes. How you guys doing? I almost didn't make it through that.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Oh, Jesus, already started with that?
well, hey, you started with Katie, so
Well,
we got no warning.
no one starts with Katie. Katie starts with the world. Don't mess with the Katie. Jesus.
Yeah, we had no warning,
Welcome to the
so...
show, guys.
Yeah.
I told you I was going to be on fire tonight. I don't know why.
See, I thought you meant you were, like, full of piss and vinegar and, like, ready to rant about something.
No.
I'm like, sweet Joe rant, you know?
Sweet Joe rant. Tonight's the night, everybody. Light the candles and we got a show.
Because I'm like, sweet Joe's going to rant. I don't have to. Like, there's nothing I'm pissed off about, so...
It's his night. Oh,
How you been?
No, sorry. I'm doing better now. Oh,
And Meddy's
God.
really quiet, which means she's either muted so she doesn't snort into the microphone, or she's just waiting.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
She's like, nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
Yeah, no
I'm
snorting
cool.
here. No.
Nah, I'm just trying not to drink coffee because I never know when you're going to play that again.
Play what?
Yeah,
That-
see, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Can you be more obvious?
Yeah, no, right?
Jesus Christ. That's like cocking your arm back going, put you in the face, what? I mean, come on. Maybe did I get it? I got her. Fucking ain't right. Already starting off good. Got Katie going.
Fuck it. I refuse
There's-
to drink anymore on this
there's
show.
Coffee up the nose. It's already a wonderful show. So anyway, we got a show. There's people paying attention. Perhaps we should chat a bit.
I doubt they're really paying attention. I mean,
That's true. They're probably like, oh, Hearthstone and these other people who are making background noise.
mm-hmm.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Epic Podcast. I'll do it my normal voice. Been a week, so it's good to see you guys back here again. Medi and Lig, what are you guys doing in WoW? Start with Lig in particular. What have you been doing, probably in WoW and gaming in particular for you?
In particular, not a whole lot. A little bit more than the last time. But rated, I think twice with Vert. Kind of. Yeah, I did. Had to bail on Sunday because I was just dead tired. Got like one boss in, and I'm like, not even able to hold my eyes open. I'm like, guys, I gotta go. Kind of running. Medi and I today ran LFR on my DK, which is on the Alliance side, trying to get some tanking gear so I can tank the flex run for the marathon on the Alliance side because I don't have a tune on the Alliance side that's geared for Siege of Orgrimmar.
Right.
And ran the first wing on him today. Bonus roll on every boss. Got nothing. Which, I did get a couple secrets of the Empire, so there's that.
Right.
Because I started with him as my raid tune in this expansion and then switched back to my priest, which was always in my mind and my heart, really, my main.
Right.
And so he doesn't have the legendary yet, so I got to do that. And I think it's just that step, and then he's got to do the tanking challenge, I think.
Okay.
And then I get the cloak, so I may end up, depending on how that plays out with me trying to get some gear for the marathon. The sad part is, like, if I can't get him geared enough to tank, I don't have a tune on the Alliance side that's geared enough, and I kind of don't have a job, so I can't justify like transferring my mage back over to the Alliance side
Right.
Because I mean, it's $55 for a server and faction. Well, I guess I could just do faction because it would be cross realm. So maybe I could afford. Maybe I could justify that. But yeah, that's what I've been doing in WoW. And today, I'm not sure anybody heard, but Hearthstone came out on the iPad today.
No way.
Well,
I don't
to
know.
the U.S.
Oh, is it just U.S.? I thought it was worldwide.
Well, I mean, before it was out. It was just in 3 places.
Yeah, and it was
So now it's
their soft launch basically.
It's everywhere. Yeah. I know, so.
But yeah, I played a little bit of Hearthstone on the iPad, and like we were talking about in the pre-show, actually I think it was before we actually launched the pre-show. That game now, like I'm more into the game. Like I was always kind of meh on the game. Like I liked playing it, but I wasn't like into it. This is going to get me more into it, I think, because it gives it that much more casual feel as far as like just getting into the game, like starting the game.
More
I mean,
casual than sitting on the toilet and playing Hearthstone.
Now I didn't do that once today.
No, but that's always where you go with it, right, Manny? Every time he's just like, oh, now I can sit on the crapper and play Hearthstone.
Well, no, that's part of the power of having it on a tablet, but it just
the power of the toilet.
Things just didn't work out that way today. It's
oh, what a shame.
But yeah, I mean, I played a lot more Hearthstone on the iPad than I usually do. And I think it's because, hey, my iPad's sitting here on the couch next to me.
Right.
And I don't have to hold a laptop in my lap and all that kind of stuff. And when I'm downstairs, typically that's where like my MacBook is, and it's a couple 3 years old. And Hearthstone really heats it up, so it's really not comfortable to hold on your lap while you're playing video games. But with the tablet, it's great. I mean, the interface. I've noticed. I have an iPad 2. For those of you who haven't gotten it yet, or depending on what hardware you're on, I have an iPad 2, and it's. I don't want to say it's laggy and slow to respond, but it's definitely not as quick to respond as a mouse. Like selecting my cards to discard like at the beginning of a game. It's definitely not as quick.
You're playing Hearthstone on an iPad 2 while you're doing number 2?
I'm telling you, that didn't happen today. I'm not saying it's never going to happen.
I'm 3 years old.
See, now you can start talking about all the cards from Rogue, like a combo, deal 2 damage. And,
yeah, I'm on 2-man over here.
He fits the stance.
Or take the shaman and it's over. Take the overload from the shaman and you can run with that. And
I'm on turn 2. Yeah.
So does Here Comes Mr. Bitey? Does that apply? No.
God, I hope not.
After some real Mexican.
Yeah, Revenar saying his MacBook Pro doesn't blink at Hearthstone, but he's got a late 2013. I have an early 2011. And it plays it just fine. It does when I have other stuff open. When I have other stuff open like Skype and Twitter and Chrome and all this kind of stuff, it bogs down a little bit and doesn't Alt Tab that well, or Control Tab, I guess. But I mean, it plays it well enough. It just heats up and kind of gets uncomfortable with that aluminum frame. So, and I'm actually considering uninstalling it from my MacBook now because it's the only game that I have on my MacBook, and there's no point in having it now because my MacBook and my iPad typically, like if I'm at home, sure, they might not necessarily be in the same room, but if I travel, I'm going to have one or both of them with me anyway. So one kind of beef I have about the way they did it is like the Armory app. You know how like if you go to the Armory, like it'll say, oh, you have an authenticator. Do you want me to import the code? It doesn't do that.
Okay.
And so I had to like grab my phone and grab the authenticator, and because I have the authenticator on my phone, I cloned it to my iPad so they're in sync with each other, but it would not. It didn't even give me the option to import the code. I had to type the code out. So
I didn't even know that imported codes like that.
Yeah, the remote Armory will.
Nice.
So yeah, it doesn't do that, but I don't have to log in every time, so it's not that big of a pain in the butt. But anyway, that's it for me. So how about you, Maddie? What have you been into in the last week or so?
Besides doing the LFR with you, on the Decan and Shammy. Oh God, now I'm doing it. Shaman. Raiding with Vert and Okahusen Style, which their Okahusen Style is actually, I think, changing their name into something very, very interesting and fun. Hopefully we don't get yelled at by AIE
I was gonna say,
officers.
how exciting and fun is it? I mean, not to
It's,
bash AIE, but it's got to be very family friendly. So.
Oh, it is. It's just called types in all caps, and it's all in caps. So I think
you'll be fine.
Yeah. Been playing a lot of I was playing a lot of Diablo, but I was trying to get my Crusader to 70, which I finally did. And I think I kind of burnt myself out for a while because I haven't touched it since turning level 70.
Yeah, I was doing the same push, but not nearly as hard as you were.
You know, it's just I really like that Crusader, but now that I'm 70, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a little break. I'm also been reading and researching, working with polymer clay, because I had a couple of ideas in mind, crafty ideas, to start making clay figurines. So that are based off of WoW, kind of like what Warcraft Pets does, but try and make a little figurines of actual characters instead of pets.
Kind of like a figure prints and Warcraft Pets thing, like
Yeah,
like a hybrid of that.
That's
cool.
So, but I want to at least research a little bit more because I've never worked with polymer clay. So, but I'm going to start out with making little Hearthstone necklaces to give away for the marathons. That's what's been up with me. What about you, Joe?
Wow, I'm leveling some more.
Really?
And I actually, it's weird because I got my monk, is this my fourth monk? Yes, my fourth monk to 90.
Is this for Onward?
This one's not. Well, I mean, we've been doing Onward, and that is that'll be my fifth monk, believe it or not.
Oh wow!
But my fourth was the one I was doing RAF, and this was the one that got granted levels. So it's already 90, and I was just kind of thinking about it the other day, and I was like, you know what, I should try and gear her up a little bit, and threw some timeless gear at her and everything else, and noticed she was a couple points away from LFR and stuff, and I did like Mogushan vaults, the first wing, and then ended up doing Throne of Thunder. And after a couple of runs, the gear drops fairly readily now. I was instantly ready for the first wing of Siege LFR. So I'm like, holy crap, this is going pretty quick. So she's getting pretty well geared up. Oh, that was the other thing. I did, this is the big thing that I got geared up for. That's what I forgot. I went ahead and queued her for Ordos and Celestials for the cross realm thing. And Ordos I did first. I first drop was 559 piece or whatever else.
Nice.
And then I rolled and I got another one. Different piece too. It was like shoulders and
oh wow, that's rare.
Something else. Yeah. And then I did Celestials and nothing dropped for me, but I rolled and then I got a tier set of hands. So out of 4 opportunities to get gear, this thing got
the words
3.
The words "fuck you" are coming to mind.
It's
Dude,
a lucky
I've been
monk, man.
Trying to re-gear Medi after disenchanting her gear, and I was, Siege of Orgrimmar ready on her, but I disenchanted it like a dirt cow, and it's been a pain in the ass. I mean, she's not even geared to go into any of the LFRs, and I can't get anything to drop on her. So yeah, I'm big fuck you too.
Well, what's the requirement to get into Siege?
Siege is, I think, 500 or maybe 496 or 5. Yeah, it's 496.
496, yeah, I think is right. Yeah. So
she's like 442.
So Timeless Isle doesn't do shit for you then.
I only had to replace neck, a trinket, a ring.
You can probably get a lot of that from Valor because I want to say, I think they reduced the prices on it. Like on Isle of Thunder, you get a 522 neck for Valor, and I think they reduced the prices.
Really?
A little bit, but not. It's still pretty.
Well, it's still a 522 neck.
And then I would have to do the rep grind.
Right, that neck was but that neck was friendly. It was really easy to get to.
True, but
that's true. That neck one was very well discounted. But in terms of timeless gear, I mean, those are BOA. So if you have any timeless gear on other alts, you can throw them that way.
And it's amazing. It's like when I don't need it, it drops all the time. But when I do need it, it's like I've done Timeless Isle on my Paladin. I've done it on my Hunter. on my DK, on my druid, and no cloth gear really drops.
Well, it's kind of like, Thursday night with Furt, we went and did Wing 1 of Flex just to get the Valor, and I got gear off of 2 bosses. I don't need it. And when I needed it, I couldn't get it to drop. It's just the way, that's the way that shit works, right?
To a degree. But in terms of the Timeless Isle, though, are you doing all the chests and stuff, Minnie?
Yep.
Okay. Because that's something that some people overlook. Because even those little ones give some of that gear, too.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't respawn. The little ones don't. The moss-covered ones?
Well, no, not the little ones, right. Yeah, there's only 6 that actually...
No, the gleaming chest that I pick up, what are they? The ones when you're going up towards Ordos?
Right, the
There's
ones on
one
the pillar. And then
right,
the ropes.
those have always given me coins or charms, and it has never given me gear.
Right. And you've done all the blazing ones, I'm assuming, especially the one at top. That one
I did them before.
Right.
And that's how I got my gear, and that's how I got meta gear the first time.
I need to maybe take my DK out there and because you both know the Timeless Isle way better than I do. But I might need to take my DK out there and see what I can get for tanking gear.
Dude, I am still finding awesome things on the Timeless Isle.
But I'm talking for stuff that's kind of hidden and you have to discover and that kind of stuff. I didn't spend as much time out there as either one of you, and I know, Joe, you spent a shit ton of time out there.
Well, yeah, and the PTR and everything else. So yeah, I mean, if you want to get them geared and find all that stuff, I can certainly equip you to do it. I actually did a live stream where I went and showed everybody where all the chests were one time, and actually
take the albatross. You take that one, and it's on the huge. There's 2 of them, and they're on 2 huge. Mountains, and you have to kind of kill the albatross.
Right, that's true.
See, I've never done that on any of my tunes.
Right. Well, and the other thing is, too, you don't even have to do the albatross if you don't want to. You get those hang gliders and do it that way. That's usually how I get up top. I don't even bother with the albatrosses anymore. Because basically all you do is you get those, they're 1,000 coins for 5 of them, and you go out into the water, basically into the dark water. At that point, you're able to fly. You go as high as you can, drop that, and use the hang glider, and then you can just literally just coast your way anywhere on the entire island. So it's kind of a cheap little cheat, but it works. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, any of that stuff I could show you easily.
We might have to do that. There's a holiday coming up this weekend, so I'm going to be out of town this weekend. But maybe early next week or something like that we can do, or maybe even tomorrow. I don't know what your schedule's like, but we'll figure it out. We don't need to hash it out in the middle of the show and have all these people listen to it. So
I know exactly. So, but that's pretty much what I've been doing this week in WoW, playing some more Hearthstone. Pretty much that's it. Again, doing some Onward. We had a really good Onward episode that came out Monday that we recorded over the weekend. It was just complete ridiculousness. I swear our best episodes are when we don't complete one quest or do anything. I don't know if you saw one I think it was actually the one just previous, where we literally found there was this group of horses out in Hillsbrad that just ran around in a pack. I don't know if I ever mentioned this on the show, but anyway, they just ran around this giant pack, and I was a brewmaster, so I threw a barrel at them, and they started just kind of rolling at me really slowly, just chugging at me, of course, because they're slowed, and I just thought that was a funny visual, so I just started kiting them down the road. Well, we took them all the way from Hillsbrad into Undercity.
Nice.
All the way through Silver Pine.
And they didn't leash?
They followed us all the way down into Undercity. We tried to take them. We wanted to take them into the elevator and then around Undercity, but they stopped at the elevator door. That's how the episode ends. It's great. They're standing at the episode, and we go down, and they're like, "Why are we still in combat?" We go up, and they're just looking at us. It reminded me of the Groundhog video where it looks at the camera and just a dun dun dun, 6 horses just staring.
I'm surprised they didn't leash back to their.
It was so fun. God, we've had multiple episodes like that. We had one in Kun Lai, the West Wind Rest for the Horde. We went in there and pulled their guards, and they followed us all over Kun Lai. They never leashed. We didn't even really have to keep hitting them. They just kept coming after us. No matter what we did, they wouldn't leave us. We took them into East Wind Rest, hoping our guards, the Alliance guards, would attack them, but nope. We just sat there and get the crap kicked out of us.
Wow. Every time I've tried to do something like that where I want to kite something, it always leashes back. Because I wanted to take the flight master from this town and not kill him, but just like, kite them way far away, and it just they would always go back. I just kind of gave up doing it. So
we have a lot of odd stuff that happens on Onward, so that's why I always test the waters, because I'm like, well, we're recording. If anything weird happens, like flying panthers or the Krasarang, and we're recording it. So, but that's pretty much it for me. It's been uneventful, and I'm still pushing up more alts. Like I said, I've got 25 90s now. So, God, what have I got? Three others that are 85 or higher. So I'm almost to 28, which will be good, because then I'll just have 2 more lobies to push up, and I'll be done.
That's it. You've only got 28. I mean, shit,
I don't
honestly,
know.
dude,
It's a sickness at this point.
I'm kind of curious, because I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Like, I can't level that many tunes. It just gets to be, to me, it's so repetitive.
It is, but the thing is, people need to understand that I started this a long time ago, so it's not that bad. Because I had 10 in Wrath. I had 1 of each class on the Alliance side at 80. So, I mean, all I had to do is push them up to 85. It's no big deal. Then the biggest insanity, yes, is that I pushed another 10 from 1 to 85.
And I guess for me, like, and this is gonna sound like I'm being a total dick, and maybe I am. For somebody that doesn't like doing dailies, how do you repeat all this shit, dude?
Well, because again, I can choose how and when I do things. The dailies are my biggest problem with dailies isn't necessarily that it's repetitive content. It's the fact that I feel like I have to. Like if I miss a day or something, I'm behind. It's just
okay.
that
I can see that. Yeah.
That I don't like my games feeling like it's, like I said, I've always felt like it's a chore.
See, I guess for me, the problem I have with dailies is like, oh, look, I'm doing the same shit I did yesterday.
Yeah, and I can see that, but it's not that for me. It's just the feeling that it's necessary. And that's again, we've talked about the dungeon thing. That's why I like the 7 in 1 week rather than the 1 a day.
Right.
So yeah, and then honestly, one of the reasons why I did another set of 10 in Cana wasn't necessarily because I just wanted to have 1 of each class on both factions.
It's because you're fucking nuts.
Well, that's undisputed and has nothing to do with the fucking game.
Shit.
You fucking planned that.
No, actually, I didn't.
Oh, figures. Anyway, no, part of it was to give my channel content, because I just started doing the channel and I had no idea what I was doing. Folks, if you ever want to do content, you don't think about some big master plan. You'll never have one. Just go out and start doing it, and you'll figure it out along the way.
Yeah, let it come to you later.
Yeah, just figure it out, because it's a learning curve you might as well embrace. But in this case, I was like, well, it'll be good for the channel, give me footage and something to talk about, whatever else. So there was that, but it was also because Cana had just changed the entire world, and I had a bunch of 80s, and I was never going to see the zones and how they changed and all these great changes. So I was like, well, this will be a good way for me to do it, and so 2 birds, 1 stone. And I went ahead and did it. And of course, here in Mists, I had 2085, so it wasn't that hard to push them up to 90. It was a pain in the ass. I really don't like Pandaria leveling at all anymore. That's the hard part. I don't mind doing the lower stuff. Excuse me. I really don't mind doing the lower stuff at all until I hit 50. Then I hate it. 50 to 58 is the worst grinding of this game. I swear to God. I'll go to my grave saying that.
I kind of agree. I think 50 to 68, from 50 until you get to Northrend, I think is worse, because I just don't like Outland.
See, I don't have a problem with Outland because it goes really fast, because there's so many dungeons that open up so fast because you level fast that you can usually dungeon really quick, at least a 65 or 65. Yeah, did I say 65? Yeah, I did say 60. Okay, good. And then you can do Ring of Blood, and then you've got more dungeons that open up, so it gets you to 68 pretty readily. My other problem with, it's not bad, but when you get to 78, the fact you can't just hit up to the Cataclysm content, and you can't queue up for those ICC 5-mans, which I still think is crap, because nobody gets to do them. They just sit there unless somebody drags you through. You can queue up for them at 80, which who's going to do that?
Right. So
it sucks that content's just wasting away. Those were fun dungeons, and they have a good story and led to the raid. And
well, that pays if you've got a buddy that tanks and they're level 90 right now. Actually, no, you can't even go into them.
No.
Like you can't walk in the front door. Because I tried that. Medi and I tried that once.
At what point?
I want to say it was 78 or 79.
You can go in 78.
Can you? Maybe it was a gear level. I don't remember. But
it might have been an item level.
Because I know it would not let me walk in. Like, she flew all the freaking way up there, and I was on my Druid, I think. And she flew all the freaking way to Northrum. We go to ICC, and we try to go in there, and it wouldn't let me in. I'm like, shit.
Oh, in ICC itself, the raid?
Well, no. The ICC. There's 5-mans.
Well, you guys make sure you go in the right order, because you do have to do them in order. That's the other thing. So maybe you.
Well, the gate's down on the outside. If you. Yeah, I know you got to do them in the right order.
You can still open. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I mean, I always try and con somebody into pulling me through, because those dungeons plus the quests are just massive XP.
Oh yeah.
If you have XP boosts of any sort too, just oh my god, it's insanity. So, I always try and drag people through those as well, because it's a shame that they just waste away. But anyway.
Anyway, we should probably get into the news that you bitched at me about not putting enough at.
No, that's why. See, that's why we're talking about this, because I figure we got nothing else to talk about.
Good cover.
Okay.
So in case you were like under a rock, there was this thing in Boston this past weekend called PAX-East, and there wasn't a whole lot of WoW news as far as like actual presentations and such. I mean, there was some, but not a ton. But there were some folks, some of the devs were there, and there were some interviews going on. And we got a lot of information. Some of it's kind of repeat info. Some of it's kind of new. But it just kind of started off, it was kind of a brain dump. Everywhere I read like a synopsis of it was kind of like a brain dump from the devs. And they started off talking about the level 90 boost and Proving Grounds. And they're kind of being ambiguous about this a little bit. They said you won't be able to queue for heroic dungeons, and originally they said LFR, but they kind of took that back until you have a quote certain level of Proving Ground achievements unquote.
I'm down for them to have that gate for LFR too.
I am too. Especially if it's going to be like silver for Proving Grounds, because really silver's not that hard. It's challenging. It's challenging enough to where you kind of need to know what you're doing, but if you work at it, you're not going to go one-shot it. And if you're a really good player, you might go one-shot silver. But most players won't one-shot silver. But it kind of forces you to look at your class, look at your action bar. The problem I have with it though is it requires you to put some abilities on your action bar which you will never use in an instance.
This is true.
It requires you to put some PvP stuff on there because you got to interrupt or silence or whatever. And as a mage, you're not going to use that in LFR or a Shadow Priest. You're just not going to use it. Yeah, if you're a tank, you might use an interrupt or something, but you're never going to do that when you're a caster or just a general DPS in LFR. You're just not going to do it. So maybe that's why they're not doing it. I don't know. You can still queue for normal dungeons without the Proving Ground achievements, and the difference is the heroics, from what they've been telling us, the heroics are going to be more challenging than what we have right now, which I'm very grateful for, because I don't remember what podcast or whatever I was listening to, and they said the 5-mans in Miss had a lot of replay value, and I disagree fully. I tired of them quickly. I think it's because we didn't get new 5-mans to kind of spice it up a little bit. But they did say that in a patch after the release, that Proving Grounds will be made to do a better job of telling you what you're doing wrong rather than just being a test. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I think it's not necessarily a bad idea, but at the same time, I think it's just going to guide people to, you have to do this to beat this challenge, and they're not really going to learn you know what I mean? They're not really going to learn what they need to learn in order to do well in a heroic dungeon.
Well, I can kind of see, I mean, if there are, I don't know, because
it's kind of like, I guess what I'm saying is it's kind of like in schools today where they have all these aptitude tests and proficiency tests, and schools are just teaching kids how to pass the test, and they're not actually teaching them how to do math or how to, you know what I mean?
Well, right.
That's what I'm afraid this is going to be.
And take for healers, for example. I mean, right now, I could probably tell you that I could probably just spam a couple of buttons on my paladin and get silver. And that's
even
not
with it scaling you down, Because it
Huh?
scales your gear down.
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But it's just like that's not teaching you how to heal. That's just,
Right.
that's kind of cheating the system, I think.
Well, I mean, the reality is, you're still, no matter what's going to happen, no matter how they try, there's still going to be people that go into LFR and just don't care or aren't going to be up to snuff, no matter what gauntlet they go through. So the good thing in terms of healing is at least they're not going to have all the smart heals and stuff. People actually will have to think for themselves and will have to put forth some effort. So maybe that'll help too. But yeah, it's they're doing what they can to limit it, but it's never gonna be gone. So I think it's good that they're trying something, and I think the Proving Grounds are a good place to start. There's only so much you can do. That's the problem.
Right.
Besides, there's times where I've had people even like say this to other people. I'm just like, I'm doing everything I can except for going over to your house and moving your mouse for you.
The thing is, like, I do agree with this to a certain point, because it keeps people from just running into LFR and and I've been the proponent or I've not been a proponent of you learn your class while you're leveling. I disagree with that. I do believe that there needs to be something to teach people how to play, but maybe some people do learn their class while they're leveling. I don't. But I do think there needs to be something to keep people from just boosting the tune and going straight into LFR and ruining everybody else's experience. But at the same time, this kind of feels like Blizzard themselves is saying, link achieve in trade chat.
Kinda, yeah.
And
I always hated that.
Yeah.
So.
But, like you said, it's not, I mean, the achievement is unfortunately just, part and parcel of the process.
Right.
I think more than anything, it's just a gate. I think I think Meta used that term in particular. It's so people don't just go grab PvP gear or whatever gear for the eye level, whatever, and jump right in and say, "Hey guys, you're carrying me tonight."
And I did the second wing of LFR on my shaman a couple of hours before we recorded, and we were on General Nazgrim, and there's a hunter in full heroic gear, and every time that General Nazgrim is on, and we keep wiping because people are not getting ads. They keep directing their DPS on General Nazgrim, and he's in defensive stance. And so I'm going over each person, clicking on them, and seeing who they're targeting. Here's this hunter decked out in heroic gear, and they're just firing away on him. And, people are yelling at him, "Hey, get off the boss, get off the boss, get off the boss." And we wipe. And
he's just trolling.
He starts yelling at people. And then we actually, defeat the boss finally after he, like a couple seconds after he berserks. And he wipes out our tanks. He wipes out the majority of the healers and the DPS. And they finally finish him off. And he's like, he says in raid chat, he's like, "Finally, cunts." And I'm like,
nice.
Really? I was like, who's being the cunt by constantly hitting him when he's in defensive mode? And he's like, totally go fuck yourself.
And of course, it's the boosted tunes that are ruining LFR.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And you're never going to get rid of bad people. That's the problem. There's no way they can totally police it. They pretty much thrown their hands in the air on that one.
Right.
Everybody says, report them, and I'm sorry. I've even gotten frustrated, and I've said some not so nice things in my almost 8 years playing this game. I've never gotten a warning or anything for language or anything. So yeah, there's in fact, it's funny. I've gone back and watched that Conan O'Brien clip where he's at BlizzCon. At one point, he's sitting there just trying to get somebody's attention on the Warlords demo, and he's like, I can't remember who the dev is he's with. He's like, can I swear? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, types, "Hey, dick." And he's got a dev right over his shoulder.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, there we go. Permission. We've got permission.
We got at least permission to call everybody a dick.
At least that's part. But he said initially, "Can I swear?" And he says yes. So he didn't know if it was going to go any further than that. So yeah,
it's true.
There we go. No, there's only so much you can do, and it sucks. And I still say that the LFG and everything is what started this snowball of just no accountability. You know, it used to be, and again, here we go. I say it, and it already sounds like back in my day, Mr. Hipster Joe, I played in vanilla. But it used to be seriously that, you know, if you did something, you were on a server, you were held accountable. You got a reputation, and people wouldn't take you in groups.
Right.
But you don't have that anymore. You can go in, be a complete dick, get what you want done, and then leave. So there's no getting around that. If you're going to have that mechanic in the game, it's always going to be there in some way.
Right.
So
no, you're dead right.
Unfortunately. But that's what I love about them encouraging people to play together. That's trying to fix that to a degre.
I think it will.
It'll certainly help some.
Yeah.
It won't solve all, but that's a great. Medi said it a long time ago, and I totally agree with her. There's a need to. I would like to see a little more incentive for guilds in particular, because guilds don't get a lot of love these days.
Well,
so.
Yeah, and that's something that's been talked about a lot lately, especially coming into, when they combine the 10 and 25 man lock and all that kind of stuff, and people are like, oh, well, you're just screwing over this guild or that type of guild or whatever. And this is coming from somebody who used to wear the GM hat, and technically I guess I still do, but it's not it's not up to Blizzard to keep your guild alive. And too many people, I think, when I see conversations in different forums and whatnot, too many people talking about what's Blizzard going to do to help my guild. The only thing that I can in any way, shape, or form hold Blizzard accountable for your guild struggling is that the content is now starting to get stale, and we have a thirst for new content. But as far as keeping your guild alive, that's you as guild leadership. That's your job. That's part of what you signed up for when you started a guild or when you took over the guild. That's part of what you signed up for, is something to keep that guild. You signed up for arranging activities and doing stuff that people want, making an environment where people want to come and play and have fun playing. That's what you signed up to do. And if you don't have the energy to do it, don't blame Blizzard.
That's part of it, though. But the other part is the game is being geared away from guilds. That's where people get frustrated.
No, but see, I disagree. I think the game is offering things for people to where they don't have to be in guilds. But I don't think that's necessarily encouraging people to not be in guilds. It's encouraging people who don't want to be in guilds. It's not like they're telling them, like, hey, you don't have to be in a guild if you don't want to. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's encouraging people to not be in guilds. It's encouraging those people who don't necessarily want that environment. They can still play the game, but there's still plenty of shit that you need a guild for.
Right, I'm like that. The guild achievements, finishing a wing of Siege of Orgrimmar, it's a guild achievement. But it's like, if they want to keep those, then they need to give a little bit more love to the guilds. It just seems like after Cataclysm, mainly after Cataclysm, they kind of just turned their backs on the guilds.
I don't think so. I don't think they've treated, like, I think they kind of started down a path maybe with the guild perks and everything that they did in Cataclysm. I think they started down a path and then didn't proceed down that path. But if you disregard what they did with Cataclysm, which I know you really can't, right? But if you disregard what they did in there, guilds are no different now than they were in vanilla, except for there's a limit of 500 tunes per guild.
Here's where I would say, and it's from Ghostcrawler himself, and I think it was during BlizzCon, one of the panels, where he's talking about wanting to play with friends and encouraging people to play with each other. He was at Blizzard. They were cubicles or whatever else, and this guy was going to run something or whatever else, and he starts running it, and Ghostcrawler's like, well, why didn't you say something? I would have run it with you. And because it was just easier for him to queue up and just go, rather than say, like Ghostcrawler said, he was like, I have to go get a cup of coffee or whatever else. He just didn't want to wait. And unfortunately, that's the society we live in, and that's how most people are, especially with Blizzard, how easy it is to just jump in and out of things now. There's no encouragement to necessarily
okay,
with
so
other people.
I'm not disagreeing with you. There is no encouragement for people to be in a guild, but that is not de facto discouragement.
It's not, but if you're going to encourage people to play together with these bonuses, it would be nice to see something implemented that indicates specifically guilds, guildmates. I'm not saying much, but if you're going to say, hey, it's important to us that friends play with each other,
But that's been there since Cataclysm with the challenges to run so many dungeons and kill so many raid bosses and run so many raided battlegrounds. That's been there. It's there, and it benefits the guild. It might not benefit you, but it benefits the guild, and it's still there. They didn't take it away. Maybe they need to increase how much gold the guild gets. Maybe they need to give you an extra 5 valor. I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There is no incentive for the individual, and if the money just goes to the guild and the guild master never does anything with it, or if it doesn't actually get used, or if it doesn't benefit the guild in any way, really, shape, or form,
find a different guild.
That's easier said than done. Most guilds these days are together for the perks and stuff like that. There's not as much social interaction in guilds like there used to be. They're not as necessary. You can cross realm everything. That's what I'm saying. There's another way that people don't.
But and I guess what I'm saying is, guilds aren't. And you just said it. Guilds aren't necessary. But guilds,
no, they're not.
But I guess people seem to be taking this black or white view of it, and they need to be looking at the gray. Guilds aren't necessary, but guilds aren't discouraged either. Look at the gray. It's not an A or B thing.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it just waters down the possibilities more. It goes more into the gray where there wasn't gray before. That's what I'm saying. There weren't all these millions of other options for people to do. They went to their guilds and they stayed, you stuck together. Back in the day, I would run with people I didn't like because, we needed that paladin or whatever for that particular run, whatever. It's just sometimes you got to stuff out as a team, but you don't need to do that because you can just cross realm it or LFG it. I mean, I'm not saying those are bad things, and I'm not saying that is a, like you said, a discouragement, but it lessens the amount of people, the opportunities you have, because there's always, people that you would normally do that with. They're going to go ahead and just take the easy route. So, like I said, it's just there's different options now, and the game is different. The game is completely different, and like I said, it'd be nice if it just encouraged.
Well, and that's still where I say it's up to the guild leadership is, this option is here for people in your guild to do, right? Give them an option that's going to reward them as much or equal as the option that the game put in. Make it to where, hey, we're going to do, if you expect everybody in your raid team to run LFR, schedule a raid time for LFR to get everybody to go. So that way at least half the raid or whatever is not going to be a bunch of dumbasses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to make LFR at least less painful. Maybe offer rewards of gold or pets or mounts or whatever. That's up to the guild leadership to do. And that's. I don't envy people who are still in that position as guild leadership. Right. I do not envy them at all. I've been there and it sucks. I know it's a lot of energy taken out of actually playing the game, dealing with that shit.
It's a job.
I've seen time and time again of too many GMs and raid leaders blaming Blizzard for their problems, when really they just need to step up.
To a degree, yes, but again, if you're going to if Blizzard's going to encourage certain things, like I said, grouping together with friends, they could do the same thing in a different way or the same way or a little bit more, whatever, for guilds too. That's what I'm saying. They are encouraging some things, so why not? Why not a little bit of that going to the guilds? That's all. I mean,
anyway, can we move on because of this not having anything in the show notes?
Right?
When does that stop?
We have gone through one item of the first item of news.
I kind of just zoned you guys out and started thinking about my Subway sandwich that's waiting for me.
Wow.
Thinking, I can't wait to get my mouth around that sub.
So I guess from this brain dump of other things that came out of this particular interview, for those of you who like lore but don't really like reading quest text, or you don't because every quest has text, they're saying that in Warlords the only quests that are going to actually have quest text are the main storyline. So if you see quest text, it's important to the story. Others are just going to give you the objective. It says the bonus objectives no longer have any story text to go with them, just the objectives. So, personally, I don't think I'll be doing those unless I feel like I'm not getting enough XP to make it out of the zone. You know what I mean? I don't see myself doing those side objective quests at all. Maybe go back and do them. What do you guys? Because I'm the guy that reads quest text all the time.
I don't.
Oh, see, I do. Like, I read every word of Quest X in Mists of Pandaria.
Nope.
So, the first time. not the second, third, and fourth time through. I didn't, but yeah, I think that's a good change. I think it gives people the option who don't want to read the Quest X. They still don't want to read the Quest. You know, they still have the option to not read it. But I also think those of us who, yeah, and then there are those people who will read every word of Quest X, like I did through Mists of Pandaria. But I think it kind of streamlines it a little bit to let us get the story without having to read all this crap that doesn't matter.
Right.
So I'm actually quite looking forward to that. Was there anything from this first item I have in the show notes here that anything else you guys wanted to touch on other than Wildcraft episode 2?
Well, I also wanted to say in terms of that questing, they talked about how Jade Force had a clear story, but the side quest would bog you down. They're specifically going to be pushing you through, the main storyline and stuff like that. It's going to be more story driven completely compared to before, where it was just kind of quest hubs and stuff. There's no real quest hubs,
right?
From what I'm being told. So it's going to be. I'm wondering how it's going to be because I'm such a.
It's going to be linear and people are going to bitch.
Probably, and that's what I'm obviously somebody who quests, leveling a lot of characters. So I'm wondering how I'm going to feel about it because, as much as Pandaria's traditional, it had a little bit more story, and it seemed, I don't know. I don't like for some reason, I don't really like leveling through Pandaria like I do the other zones. I don't know why exactly. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect. Now, they did say, though, and I keep going back to this, when they talked about this at BlizzCon, it's going to be a quick romp from 90 to 100. So maybe while it might be linear or whatever else, excuse me, I think the questing is going to go faster. I think they want you at endgame quicker, which is strange because they usually kind of slow us down and bottleneck us initially.
Right.
But it seems like they're not doing that this time.
And the thing that I find strange about it is, they're still going to delay the release of the raids and all that kind of stuff. Like, the normal mode, whatever, they're going to, it's going to be a week. That's fine. But LFR is going to be, I think they said 2 weeks. I don't know that they said specifically, but they did say that normal would be 1 week, I think. And maybe it's just Heroics 1 week, but I think normal's 1 week and then Heroics a week after. So we're 2 weeks when the Heroic one opens. Or Mythic, sorry. I think LFR is going to be, at the time the Mythic opens or even later. I don't think they said specifically, but it's like they're going to give us this quick romp through the zones and then not give us in-game content. And maybe they're planning on this higher difficulty Heroic 5-mans kind of filling that gap, I hope.
Yeah.
Because frankly, like the Heroics we have now, I didn't think that, I thought maybe they were challenging when I just hit the item level and I was tanking. And I thought they were kind of challenging. I had to be on top of my game. But after I gained a couple eye level points, it wasn't. Like, I can sleepwalk through them now.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's my thing.
I could right after. I mean,
I hope we have 5-mans and stuff like that. That would be, the Mythic or whatever else. Because I'm frustrated with the fact that I don't have anything to tank at endgame. I mean, unless I want to do LFR, and I don't.
Right.
And regular rating, of course. Which, I'm sorry if I offend you by saying LFR is not regular rating, because it's not.
I agree.
But yeah. So I'd like to see. I'd like to fall in love with tanking again because I kind of miss it.
And I will put a caveat on there to make it less insulting, because to me, rating is not about the content; it's about the people that I'm running with.
Yeah, that's a big
to me. That to me is what makes quote unquote regular rating superior to LFR. It's much less about the content than it is about the folks that I'm running with.
Yeah, if you can do it with people you don't know, then it's not really rating, in my opinion.
For LFR, for me, it's I want to get in, get my gear, get the fuck out with flex rating.
It's a pinata.
It's a little pinata.
These are my friends, and I enjoy having this time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
2 hours just bullshitting with these people.
Boobies.
Absolutely.
Boobies!
French toast!
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
God, you're slow.
See, it's not as funny.
I know, see? That's why I need to be in charge of this stuff.
Well, go buy an iPad and...
Okay.
He has a sound.
I'm gonna put that on my taxes for work-related work expense.
Anyway, moving on. two things that came again. It's kind of out of PAX East, and I don't think this came out of PAX East, but Blizzard released some screenshots of Garrisons, and a lot of people were shocked at the size of just how big these things are.
That's what she said.
Not to me.
Oh God.
Usually I get pointing and giggling.
But I guess I was kind of shocked at just the massive scale of the Garrisons, but at the same time I'm kind of like, yeah, we should have expected that.
It's so huge.
That's what she said.
Huge. I mean, it's not. I guess I expected the buildings to be, whatever, but the area in general, it's not just a little town. It's a freaking city.
Yeah, it's
with giant trees and everything else. I'm like, holy crap.
I mean, it's basically, it looks like, I'm going to put it in Alliance terms, it looks like it's about the size of the Dwarven District. Yeah, maybe even a little bigger.
At least. I think it's bigger.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like, yeah, I'm planning on spending a lot of time there. And it's one of those things that, like, when I saw these photos or saw these screenshots, I'm like, holy shit, this place is big. And then I was like, well, of course it would need to be. Because we're going to get this mage tower and this lumber mill, and we kind of know how big those buildings are. And, like, if we had sat and thought about it, kind of, analytically thought about how big these buildings are, and we're going to have, 5 or 7 plots, I don't remember how many we're getting. Yeah, it needs to be a pretty good-sized chunk of space. It's going to hold all this shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you see the followers that are in the shots too, they're dinky compared to the rest of the whole thing, and it's that put it into perspective for me. And I don't know if you saw my tweet. For me, it just makes me think, man, people that like role play, this is going to be fantastic.
Especially since you can invite friends to your garrison.
Absolutely,
yeah, I totally agree.
I wonder if it'll be a raid, if you can get a raid group in there, because you can have guild celebrations. I mean, you can have guild parties and that thing. I mean, it's huge. So
yeah, you could do all kinds of RP stuff with that, or even not even that. Just fucking, hey, let's go hang out. Absolutely, and it can be attacked. That's the other thing. So there's always that little RP or whatever situation you got going on. I've been hesitant about garrisons, and I still am, how they're going to work and whether they're required and all that other stuff. But seeing those pictures encouraged me. Actually, what encouraged me is something you just kind of hinted at, where they said as you quest through the zones, you kind of piss off the locals. Right. And they're going to come attack you, and I'm like, okay, now you're talking like, okay, let's do this. Right. Yeah. I'm like, give me some more PvE, and it's. There's no two ways around it. That's solo PvE content, right? Yeah. So, give me some of that. Give me some more of that, and just the other stuff that comes with it. I think it's gonna be really cool. Like, this is why I'm really looking forward to beta. I'm hoping I get into the beta. Right. This is what I expect to spend most of my time in beta on, is just making sure that I can do and I know what I'm supposed to do with my gear, quote unquote supposed to do. Yeah. So that way, when it goes live, I don't spend a lot of time and resources going, and then, shit, I should have done this instead. Right. And that's the thing for me, too. If I can get in, obviously, I do a lot of video creation, and I'll be able to walk people through that, show them how it all works, and I can there's so much in this expansion that I can show off and make guides for that. Right. I just... And you don't have to. Well, it's not even that. Just from the machinima standpoint, you now have a town that you can make machinima in, and you don't have to worry about some schmuck doing ERP next to you. To a degree, I mean, if you use Model Viewer to do it, you don't have to worry about that too much. But yeah, you do have, your own location that you can specifically do stuff for. So,
hey, baby, why don't you come over to my garrison?
And with you and your army of alts. And I'm just not going to let them that was another thing somebody said that they suggested, and it's not something obviously that Blizzard says, but somebody suggested it. Have your alts hang out in your garrison. Just have them randomly either walking around like followers or whatever, or else just have them put them in a museum. Yeah, what about their own garrison? Their own garrison? Yeah, let's say I have a garrison on my mage and a garrison on my priest. It wouldn't make much sense for my mage to be walking around, especially if one's Horde and one's Alliance.
Well, when they're not active.
Right, yeah.
And it could be just like a copy of
Like, no, I mean I get it, but like if like for a while I had one mage tune or one alliance tune, one horde tune at max level, it wouldn't make much sense for them to be in the other one's garrison.
And Joe, when you set up or have them like in a museum, I just imagined Tony Stark's different Iron Man.
Yes, exactly. Or like
armors,
a wax
and
museum or
just
something.
Your different avatars, your different tunes. That blank stare.
See,
That'd
Joe
be
would
great
need a
if-
garrison just for that.
I would need several garrisons to house all mine. Although I'd like to have one that would be built in carbonite, just like Han Solo. I'd
Or
pay.
you can make them almost like the Cylons. There are many.
Exactly.
Too much Battlestar.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway,
but the other big thing that came out of this particular brain dump is something that everybody's been itching for is BlizzCon. And they didn't announce anything, but they did say BlizzCon is something that everybody would really like to do. If there is more information, it will be shared at some point in the near future. Ironically, they didn't say soon.
yeah.
So,
Hurry it up because people have holidays to tend to.
Yeah, people have travel budgets and all that kind of stuff, especially folks coming from, well, like Joe, you talked about, I don't know if it was last week or an episode before that, where there were people come from out of the country.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the clock's ticking. And by the way, I know I mentioned, it was last week I mentioned it, the marquee in front of the Anaheim Convention Center, it was a photo of last year where they had the wrong year.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, that's because a couple people actually tweeted to me their picture of the marquee. One of them was Grayson. He's like, I think I ought to start charging royalties. I'm like, that wasn't that photo. But yeah, so that one definitely was. I'm not saying it was photoshopped. I think it was just a clip from last year's when it was. I think I maybe even took a photo of it.
Right.
But yeah, they need to come up with something soon. I know we've been saying it for a while, and everybody else has too. So they do need to come up with something soon. At least let us know it's not happening. I don't care. I mean, I want it to happen, but
I'll say this, and I thought this today when I saw somebody tweet about it. I think it's encouraging in a way that we haven't heard anything. It sounds to me, honestly, like there really shouldn't be. Like with something that's going on or whatever else, it's gonna be just a pain in the ass. But they're trying. That's what I feel like this is. They
agree.
want, and that's why it sucks we haven't heard anything, but they're it seems to me they're trying to do everything to not say no, which is great. So we'll see how it goes.
I agree. That's kind of what my gut says. Like, well, it's not likely, but they're trying really hard, and they don't want to say no because it still might happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, they know that they need to get something announced soon.
Oh, absolutely. They have a date in their head. I don't know what it is, but
everybody's pretty much sure. But if you look at the Anaheim Convention Center, it's basically the same weekend. Instead of the 8th and 9th, it's like 9th and 10th or 7th and 8th.
Okay.
That's the only weekend that's still free.
But I mean, they have a time frame in terms of when they have a cutoff to announce or not announce.
Oh yeah. I'm
sure internally they've got something. So who knows what that is?
I still say it needs to be in Vegas. It's a bigger. You get much bigger convention space, and people who've been to BlizzCon realize how large the Anaheim Convention Center is. Vegas has much larger convention space.
Yeah, but they do it they're doing it there for their convenience. Anyway.
Oh, I know. Damn it, I want to go to Vegas.
That's all this is. Looking for group.
Want to be able to afford Vegas? Shit.
Well, there's that too.
Yeah.
I mean, you think drinks are expensive at BlizzCon? Jesus.
I don't know. I didn't drink it.
I sure felt it.
Actually,
we have video to prove it.
Yes.
You're actually, they're not that much different. You're paying hotel prices at BlizzCon. You're going to be paying basically the same in Vegas. $6 a beer. It's basically the same.
Those Hybrinas.
Anyway, they did some talking about some vengeance and healing too, tanking and healing mainly. How vengeance is going to change. It's now going to be called Resolve. And they also talked about how tank swapping at X stacks was not a great thing to do on so many fights. They act like this is all of a sudden a new problem.
Amen to that.
That's
new.
Yeah, like Warlord or Miss of Pandaria is where we introduced this change on stacks on 3 stacks.
And then we overdid it. Sorry, guys.
Well, hey, at least they didn't do Cataclysm where it was like interrupt every fucking thing. That was horrible tanking in Cataclysm. Where if you missed an interrupt, you wiped a raid. That sucked. But anyway, they said in Warlords of Draenor, both tanks will be actively tanking. It says much more often. I totally misread that. First read it was both tanks will be actively tanking, much more fun. So
much fun.
Much fun. Much fun.
Many tanks. Wow.
I hate that meme.
Sorry, I know. I normally.
No, I did it too, but I fucking hate it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this is just making me want to find a way that I can tank in Warlords. It really is. That was my biggest taunt. All right, I got him.
Yeah.
Taunt. All right, I got him. And once you've got your active mitigation, once you've got that down, that's the communication between tanks typically.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to tank an LFR, because I don't trust some random.
Exactly. Well, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But they did some more talk on healing, and I didn't read it because I don't heal. And did you read it, Maddie?
Wait a minute.
Is there any groundbreaking stuff in there?
No, nothing groundbreaking. I think people like I said, people are freaking out a little bit more than they should.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Sorry, I just looked at the chat room.
Oh, I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing that I'm kind of iffy about was the whole talk about the mana regeneration abilities are being nerfed and removed. Well, if they're being removed, they're I would say that they're being nerfed.
Well, but I think
because they didn't add gameplay value. For example, Innervate was just a button to press when it was off a cooldown. I'm like, no, I like to use Innervate when I was low on mana or I saw that somebody else was low on mana. Base and they say base mana regeneration and mana costs were rebalanced to compensate. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and when it first hits beta, people are going to lose their shit because it's not going to be balanced properly. But people are going to lose their shit, and it'll end up okay. I think some of the regen mechanics, we don't know what Shadow Fiend, it might only be available to Shadow Priest. It may be getting removed entirely. We don't know. But I know that there were priests that used Shadow Fiend to regen mana.
Yeah.
Healing priests, I mean. So maybe that's going to get only, it's going to be specific to Shadow. Maybe it's just going to get removed from the game. We don't know. And hey, it could get removed from the game, and then 2 builds later, hey, it's right here, it's back again. So we don't know yet, and I think people were... I mean, it's kind of interesting to read all this stuff, kind of like we were saying last week. It gives you an idea of the direction they're headed, but it's still way too early to lose your shit over.
Right.
So, anyway, I guess we should move on to maybe the last item, since,
sure.
It's kind of late.
And we still have to record a bumper.
And we still have recording to do off the air.
Cars, yay!
Tomorrow, I did talk about this in the YouTube update that I did, and I still don't understand why everybody lost their mind over this. But Blizzard has teamed with Paul Jr. from the Discovery Channel show American Chopper, and they're going to do Azeroth choppers. And what they're doing is they're going to design a Horde-themed bike and an Alliance-themed bike. We as players get a vote on it, and the bike that wins will get put into the game. Only the players of that winning faction will get to actually use the bike, so everybody has already just accepted the fact that it's going to be a Horde bike. I personally don't think that's going to be, I personally do believe it's going to be a Horde bike, but I don't believe it's going to be that cut and dry. Because if you look at some of the infographics it put out, there are more Alliance players than there are Horde. But I still think it's going to be a Horde bike. We all kind of know it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
A bunch of people got pissed off about this, and I don't get, not necessarily about who's going to get the bike or whatever, they just got pissed off in general that this was even a thing.
Well, I can tell you one reason, a very simple sentence.
What's that?
Somebody tweeted a sentence that went something like, and you wonder why these guys cannot write a good female character. Because they're macho motorcycle riding dudes.
Oh my god. So
that's the first I heard that.
Are we going to get any of the devs to go get their hair did?
I'm just saying.
What
I know.
What else are they going to talk about? Are we going to talk about getting your nails done and going shopping?
That was some of the prevailing stuff that I saw. Was that
Wow.
thought process?
Oh.
It's just that's the thing. It just keeps perpetuating in one way or another. So
You know
Yep.
what?
Yeah, because
If-
only dudes ride motorcycles.
right, of course.
right,
There
but
are
that's
no
what the
strong
video
minded chicks,
featured.
right?
So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Seriously, if you don't like the game, I'm sorry, but you can't. I really want to stop and ask the feminists, and what do you want? What do you feel needs to be changed? Instead of bitching about it, instead of whining about it, instead of calling, foul, what are you offering as a suggestion to change? And no, you can't go back in lore and story and time, unlike Blizzard, and change things because you need a strong female. You just
Well,
can't do that. Sorry.
here's my
So
question.
what do you want that will get you to shut the fuck up and enjoy this fantasy game?
My question is who Jesus Christ.
Perfect.
Who is the epitome of a strong female character in this game? I mean, if you want somebody to take in the new expansion, someone to take that place, that mantle up.
They've got this female Draenei who is got potential.
Right, but up until now, this game that they've played up until now, all these years from vanilla on, in some cases, who is this immaculate, perfect female that they want this, to be in this expansion have more? Because I mean, Jaina's been out there, Sylvanas is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't remember any
they're
in
bitching
particular
about-
strong female character up till now. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but
Everyone that came in, everybody hated. Look at Agra. She came in. She was a strong female character. Nobody liked her, and I ranted about this on the show.
About her in the beginning, and now
They're all pissed
now
off that she's not included.
Warlords, people are bitching,
Right.
and I'm like, and it's just and to give them play devil's advocate, it's just not, the feminists bitching. So, and just to give them a little bit of credit, there's a lot of whining and bitching going on about not getting their way or things not happening that they want to see. But it's just like, I don't understand why they're bitching and not offering solutions, because y'all complained that she was too ugly or she wasn't as strong as she should have been, and nobody liked her in the beginning. But now that she's not going to be there, you want to know where she is. And you're calling foul on Blizzard about not having a strong female. Make up your fucking minds.
Well, I know some people are just like, well, look at the poster, look at the silhouette at the end of the trailer and everything.
Apparently,
It's
I got
all
so
dudes.
mad that I kicked myself out of the chat room. Oops.
They're like, look at the trailer and the poster and everything. It's all dudes. I'm like, well, they're all bad guys too. If we had a female enemy, a villain, wouldn't you bitch about it?
They bitched about a female raid boss, and
It's like, oh god.
This is one of those debates, and the reason I've kind of not said anything while Mehdi was kind of ranting there was, one, rock on, because it's not me ranting, but two is that there is no winning this.
No, there is none.
There's just no winning.
I don't always rant, but when I do,
I make it count.
Shit, I missed the button.
And I end it with there we go. Good timing.
I did like 3 times. I missed it. But anyway, the Azeroth Chopper thing, it comes out tomorrow. If you're listening live, if you're not listening live, it's the 17th. It's Thursday. Comes out. It's the first episode, and I think they're doing either 4 or 5 weeks.
I can't remember now.
I don't remember either, and I'm trying to scan this post, and it doesn't really say.
It's closed.
It's post.
French closed.
French closed.
Actually, there's going to be 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Okay, so that's going to take us up till in the middle of June, right?
It's, it'll be like the first week of June. It looks like, because the last one, this episode 7 says 5/29, and the last one doesn't have a date on it. But if it follows suit, it's one a week. So.
Okay, so there's been a lot of speculation that this will get revealed as the 10th anniversary mount.
Oh,
so, yeah.
That's true.
So, which I think is kind of cool, right? And I jokingly said on Twitter, well, now we know why we're not going to get flying for so long in Warlords, because now they have to have a reason for us.
Well, let me ask you this.
I don't really
This is
mean that,
something- This is something I've thought about. Like you said, if whoever wins, other people will be bitching because they won't be able to use the mount. What would happen at the end of this, even though there's a competition and everything, where they say, "Hey, screw it, both mounts are in the game"?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be either.
Episode
But I wonder.
8
I bet
BlizzCon.
people bitch about that too.
And the thing is
if they announce BlizzCon that late, well, wait, are you saying episode 8?
that they do the reveal at BlizzCon is what he's which I'm in favor of, because you know what? That means they're probably both going to have both actual bikes at BlizzCon, and as a dude who rides motorcycles, I want to see both of them, because I think Paul Jr. does amazing fucking design work when it comes to custom bikes, and I can't wait to see what he does.
Effie has a point. If it's an anniversary mount, that really sucks. It'll only be one faction.
That's what I'm saying. I think they'll do both.
Yeah,
I really do think. I forgot about that, but when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, I think I really.
No, they didn't say that. That's community speculation. The Blizz hasn't said that, and it makes sense.
But I do think they would go ahead and just put both in. It'd be one of those things where it's like, hey, whatever won and everything, and then give us a moment, and then I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Both of you win. Right. Something like that. I can see that.
And then, I was talking to somebody on Twitter today, and I'm sorry if you're listening and I forgot who you were. It's not personal. About, what are they going to do with these bikes after? I'm like, maybe they auction them off for charity. And you know what? If I could afford them, I guarantee you, if I could afford them, I'll buy them. But these bikes are going to go for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
Because Paul Jr., his bikes start at 50 or 60 grand. And then this is something special that's going to get auctioned off, so it's going to get ran up. But I guarantee you, if I had the opportunity to buy one of them, I would. And I play both factions, and I ride motorcycles, so I'm excited about it. I don't the political point aside that you made earlier, Joe, that people were complaining about.
Sure.
I heard people just complaining in general that why are they wasting time with this? Oh my God! Holy shit! Something fun.
Right.
People complain.
Yeah, that reminds me. Somebody tweeted at PAX as they saw. Chris Metzen or whatever else having lunch. Well, there goes one raid tier.
Yeah. There goes a raid tier and 2-5.
There goes a raid tier. They're out having lunch together.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why people are so upset outside of the potential politics, political points and all that kind of stuff, and social issues, whatever.
I can guarantee you I know why there's all this bitching going on. It's just because we're not getting any information and people are frustrated.
Here's the thing. I guarantee you the majority of these shows are already filmed and edited.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. That's probably been in the can for
a month or more.
At least, yeah. At least.
I mean, especially if they show the outside of Paul's shop and it's got snow on the ground. I mean, granted, we had snow here yesterday, so I guess it really doesn't mean anything. But,
well, there goes that. Where is his shop, by the way?
Orange County, New York.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's upstate New York, so.
Right. Yeah, well, who knows? But, I mean, yeah, they've got to have time to do all the editing and everything else. Yeah. They have to have all that footage. So they've had it probably for, they've had it for 2 months.
By the way, as good as Paul Jr. and his guys are at building bikes, they don't just shit them out. They actually have to put them together and order parts. And
yeah, exactly. So they probably had this for 2 months, I bet. So.
I'm guaranteeing it's all mechanics. And they probably actually filmed the reveal episode for both already, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm guessing the bikes are already done and in somebody's storage somewhere.
Yeah, no, they've done. That's just the way. I mean, like Survivor and shit like that, they have that done for 6 months before it even airs. So that's just, they have to have all that footage because it's a ton of footage, and they just have to cut it down. And especially it's a web series, they're gonna have a lot less footage, so they have to find what's more vital than. Oh my God, I don't envy them. So yeah, I think it's just fun. Who cares? I don't care about motorcycles.
I'm actually the conversation we had before the pre-show. Which granted it was not quite this severe, but a lot of the stuff that has come out that people have just complained about, I remember people complaining about when they redid the Dark Moon Fair, and I'm like, people in this game complain about fun.
Yeah.
Right. I don't get it. It's a fucking game. It's
but not that fun.
I don't want my game to be fun, damn it.
I don't want it. It's not fun in my way, so I want it to be fun. Well,
I guess.
and that's why when you were asking me about the tweet earlier that I made, it's specific to, you know, if you see a movie, I can see a movie with 10 different people, and I can think it's crap. Like, I mean, I don't know how many.
Somebody loves that movie, though.
I'm gonna alienate somebody here right now, but I'm gonna say it because I don't care. I can't find that many people that don't like the Michael Bay Transformers movies, but I'm sorry, I think they're shit.
The first one was okay.
Yeah.
It was fine, but it's not nearly what the show was originally or anything. The whole Shia LaBeouf character, it really almost in some ways was like, you know, a sitcom at points, like me and my giant robot friend. I mean, especially in the second one when Bumblebee cries because he's going to go off to college. I'm like, fuck that shit. So, but I run into people all the time that like this movie and that movie, and I can't stand it. Or I like this movie. You can't get people to agree on one piece of media. You're never going to get people to see the same things, get the same things out of it. Just get over that. I try and tell people in a way, especially without MMO, it's kind of like a buffet. Take what you like and leave the rest. And shut the fuck up.
I love you. Yeah.
That's what I want to say.
So I fully agree with you about movies, except if somebody doesn't like the new Captain America, they're just wrong. I'm just going to say it that way.
The first one or the second
one?
The
new one.
Well, I'm glad because I like the first one, and I'm really excited for the second one.
You did like the first one?
I love the first one.
I believe the second one's better. It's more of the captain being the captain.
Hey.
Sorry, yeah, we're not a movie podcast. We need to move on, so...
Anyways.
Yes.
Flex mode. What race will Joe's new 90 be? We have decided, well, not we've decided, but it has been voted on, and you are going to be a troll. Right? Yep, a troll.
Yay.
Not like you aren't one already. What?
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh, God. Sorry, I threw up in my mouth a little bit. I just mentioned Meddy's O face.
Oh. I have a good O face. Thank you very much.
Can we go on?
Yes.
So, and then the new poll...
Oh, shut up.
Well, no, because I have something to say about the new poll, but I figured I'd let you continue.
Oh, okay. So the new poll that was created by Revnar, thank you, is if it's going to be a male or a female. So,
and
yeah.
Revnar had a little fun with this. It's not just male or female. And he had a little fun with the options, and I think it's awesome. The problem I have with straw poll is I think my girlfriend voted downstairs, and it registers you by IP, so now I can't vote.
Aw. Way to go, Wim.
Because it's like, you've already voted. I'm like, fuck, I did.
You know what? Somebody's going to see this poll and be like, as if. Oh, that is so sexist.
Oh, I know. We can just blame Revnar, though. He didn't do it.
But yeah, that's right. Crucify Revnar for helping us. God, you're so sexist, Revnar.
So, anyway.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And we'll run this until shortly before our marathon on May 17th. Probably the week before. So I need to look at a calendar. Like the 8th? So it's only a couple weeks, right? 3 weeks.
I am depressed that it's not a Tauren, because now you can't name it French toast.
Yeah.
You still can.
That thing came too late. Well, yeah, somebody...
It has to be
one
Tauren.
person. Yeah, one person gets to do it, so who knows?
And who knows? French toast! Sounds like a good tune name.
Jesus. Anywho, let's go on to the recount section. Since it's 10:20 now.
Yes, I'm hungry.
Our second annual Child's Play Marathon will be held on Saturday, May 17th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. Last year, we had a goal of $1,000, and through your generosity, we exceeded that goal pretty quickly, actually, if I remember right, driving us to really push in the envelope and set the goal high this year at $2,500. We have plenty of things in the works for the stream, including special guests in-game and in-person giveaways, as well as games with and against the viewers. As we get closer to the event and a schedule of events comes together, we'll give updates here as well as on the site. Definitely check that out. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm hoping I'll be there. I don't see why not at this point, but you know, things happen. But I like I told them, I was watching last year and I felt like I was there. So actually it's gonna be like I stepped through the television and I'm there. Yay.
And Medi just put links in the chat room, and we need to make sure we put those in the show notes. We're doing. We talked about doing a raid race between our Horde and raid team and Seraphis and Zia and those guys from the Centering, their Alliance raid team. It just got down to a point to where we hadn't gotten a chance to figure out how we're going to stream it all and do that kind of stuff. So we just decided we're going to do an Alliance Flex and a Horde Flex. The links to sign up for those, we're going to do those through Open Raid. The links to sign up for those are in the chat room. We're going to make sure they're in the show notes. We'll put a link on the website too. I think maybe already did that.
A link at the website. Yes, it did.
Okay, cool.
It's in the blog section.
Yeah.
I'll be updating the actual Child's Play page.
And we saw
tomorrow.
donations are already able to be made too.
Right.
Yes.
Somebody did point out that the widget's already up, and Ro did point out that you can go ahead and donate now if you so choose.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like there's already been one.
Yep, he put in $10. Thanks,
Sweet.
Ro, for
Thanks,
being our
Ro.
first
Thanks,
donation.
Ro.
Thanks, Ro. It's only a month early, but still.
Hey,
keep it
it's
up.
never too early for. I mean, this is a
I agree.
great charity.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, the fact we're pushing it to 2,500 is amazing. But the
It's
fact that
scary.
I know this community, they're gonna blow that out of the water.
I didn't think last year. I didn't think we'd meet 1,000, and we
right.
Listen, we shattered it really.
Right.
Yep. So hopefully we can do it again this year. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
this is one of my favorite charities on the planet.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
Anyway, you can find the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Leave a review or a thumbs up. If you're listening via download, join our live chat and live stream at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays at epicpodcast.com/live. Epic Podcast is a member of Catalyst Gaming Media. Be sure to check out the other podcasts, YouTubers, bloggers, webcomics, and more at catalystgamingmedia.com. Also, be to check out... Words are
Slow
good.
down.
Yeah.
Also be sure to check out the forums on Catalyst's site and participate in the growing community there. You can visit the website for the podcast at epicpodcast.com. You can shoot us an email, epicpodcast@gmail.com. You can find the YouTube channel for the podcast at youtube.com/theepicpodcast. You can find Joe's YouTube channel at youtube.com/wowmardian. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at epic_podcast. You can follow me at Lignar. Joe is at wowmardian. And Medi is at Medicakes.
And just to interrupt, and give a little bit more information about the whole. I will slap you.
Hey, this was your idea.
God.
Sorry, I did that one.
Great, both of you. That's awesome. Hopefully, if I don't strangle them after the show, we will be recording a bumper. An MP3 to give away to podcasters, YouTubers, bloggers, etc. if y'all want to have those on your show. And also a text version if you want to have that on your blogs, etc. So, that's it.
That's it. So, sorry for running along this time, guys. We kind of got a little rambly and ranty there. And
No.
So
rails? Where we're going,
we don't need rails.
Revenar, I mean, you do have until May 17th. I mean, signups are the deadline for the signups is going to be May 1st.
That might be a little early. Let's maybe do maybe a week ahead.
Yeah, I think a week is good.
So what?
The 10th. I think 16 days is a little
Fine, May 10th. Not like you guys are good putting this together or anything.
Swear to God, I always feel like we just punched her in the mouth.
I know, right?
I know. Sorry, Mitty.
So anyhow,
it's fine. It's fine. Revenar, you have until May 10th. I'm told. So I think you could get to item level 500. We may make some exceptions.
Mass has told me it's the 10th.
God.
Well,
wow, I think we need to.
So I'm told.
We need to end this.
I think we need to call this one for the week. So, chat room, appreciate y'all coming out, and those of you listening on download, join us please in the chat room on Wednesdays. It's more. The more of you here, the more fun we have. So, until next time, have fun a while, y'all.
Bye bye.
French toast.
French toast!